This Hangout on there is live. So this is a long running code kata. I think I'm on video 45 of live programming in F Sharp. Specifically, I'm building this get ride uh, sample application. It's inspired by domain driven design. So I have a ride domain and account domain. Each of these domain folders will harbor a specification folder, a UI library, a ViewModels library, and a domain library. Same thing for account. Specification folder will have a specification library, a test library, right? Meaning your automated tests, but your UI library is also here in your domain, as well as your ViewModels library and your domain library. Okay. And then there's this app.foundation, which is kind of the integration points for the overall application, where these domains are specific responsibilities of the business logic or the domain logic. So it's kind of what it is right now. For the ride specification, you have the language that's used, and you also have your main operations. So for ride, you have the before ride module that consists of a request price function type that takes a passenger, pickup, destination, and is going to return a result that either is going to be okay or an error. If it's okay, it's a price. If it's an error, you'll get an error description. Request ride is another operation that has been defined as a function type, in which we take a quote and we return a result. If okay, it's a pending ride, maybe a pending ride, hence the option. Else, if it's an error, it's going to be an error description. So I have different modules within the specification.operations for the ride domain. And all this was just before ride. You also have during ride, in which you could request a location. After ride, I have this ride ended response. For the account specification, I have operations over here for regarding the bank cards module for query the bank cards that are supported by the application that a user can submit for paying fees, hence paying for rides. Query the bank cards for a given account, which is going to return a validated list of bank cards. Add a bank card, which takes into account a not validated card. And if that submission of a bank card to be added is successful, then we get a result that, again, if it's okay, a validated card. Else, if it's an error, then we get a failure reason for adding that bank card. And you also have remove bank card. There's also a transaction module in here for ride. So you could pay for a ride. It takes a validated card, the price. And I think what this should really be is, instead of price, it should be the quote. All right. And that quote is going to be used to generate the ride receipt. Okay. That quote is going to have the details that we need to generate that receipt: the passenger, pickup, destination, and the actual price itself. And then you can query ride receipts and query cancel receipts. Okay. Now the application is over here. If you notice, I have a little navigation menu right here. So I could say, right now by default it's on ride, but I could toggle to account over here. You have the different cards that are currently registered for a person's account. You can remove a card, add a new card, and say Scott Nimrod say the car type is going to be, let's say it's, go back, car type is going to be American Express, and that's a bug. I probably should change it to Discover. And you just put a whole bunch of numbers in here until it gets validated. Expiration year, put that security code, something like that. You add this. Okay. If I wanted to go to ride over here, I could say 21 Jump Street. And for the destination, I could say East 99th, St. Clair. Okay. Get a price, 21 Jump Street to East 99th, St. Clair, $5, pay with, and say Discover, request a ride. And that's going to say looking for drivers. And this is pretty much where I left off in the last video, where the app will look for drivers, and then they'll discover a driver, and then it'll show the driver's information, such as their profile image, their name, their car, their plate number, and the estimated time of arrival. And it'll basically show that car en route coming towards you. Oh yeah, and it'll show your location. Well, not your location, but the location of the pickup. Which, now that I think about it, by default, yeah, if I hit this back button, I don't have the navigation wired up, so it's not going to go back anywhere. By default, I think the pickup should have the current location of you, and then you can modify it. So, okay. Anyways, so what does that mean? For the ride specification operations, before ride, there may be some more operations that get added to this particular module before ride. Specifically, we want to when we request a ride, when it's successful, we get I actually have to build all this. When it's successful, we get a pending ride. The pending ride will have a reference to a driver, vehicle, pickup, etc. All right. So maybe we don't have to add any more operations in here. Actually, we do. Hold up. This ride request has a vehicle. The vehicle should have plates on it. So just add another plate number. And we're going to say that it's going to be a plate number type. Okay. So then I can have type over here, plate number, and say that this is going to be equal to plate number of string. Okay, now what? Well, I'm missing the E in here. In addition to plate number, I think we have, well, we need a color. But color is over here. Okay. And that's right here. All right. So now what? When they request a ride using a quote, then inevitably, for lack of a better term, let me go over here and say that our plate number, which apparently I'm still missing the E on, or and let me go over here. So our plate number is going to be equal to plate number A1, B2, C3, something like that. Okay. Control Shift B to build. Let me go back to my operations over here. So this request ride it pretty much has most of the information that we need, and I just tacked on the plate number, and that's pretty much it. So if I go back to the UI part for the ride domain, there's a await ride right here that I'm curious if, and who do I get this message from? I'm curious if, put my phone on vibrate. I'm curious if this await ride page should host or should dynamically update when a ride is found. And so, like by default, it's saying, looking for drivers, right? But then maybe based on certain events that take place, it'll say driver found. And then maybe I have collapse an image element that I'll update to the actual profile image of the image, or that will update to the profile image of the driver that was recently found. So what I mean by that is maybe this, for the await ride file, maybe this looking for drivers should really be a label that's binding, and it's going to be status is the message, okay? Which means that I need to have a view model for await ride, which I'm not sure if I actually have or not. I don't think I have a view model for await ride, so Control Shift A for adding a new file. And over here I have await ride. This is going to be view models namespace. So I can say, over here, this is ride.viewModels namespace. And so I could do that. And then over here, I could say type await ride. Okay. And then I can have over here a member X dot status, and then say with it, and that's going to be equal to let mutable status equal, and then maybe throw that in there. Maybe throw this in here. Okay. So then you could say equal status, and then over here you can say and set is going to have a value in here equal, and you can say status will be mutated by this value, something like that. Okay. What else, Willis? Well, things must be aligned. All right, there must be order in this house. So once things are aligned, then what else do I want to do? Well, this await ride is a view model. How's this going to work? That will probably have a pending ride in it. So maybe it's pending ride like this, and that will be a type ride. Okay, that type ride should be defined already, but it's not. So I can say open ride dot specification dot language, but I don't think it's in the language. I think it's actually in, before we get to language, open get ride dot core. Okay, and that get ride dot core I think should have some notion of a ride, and it's a pending ride. There's also a request ride, but that's a case. Pending ride is this right here. Okay. So I should be able to just do that right there. And that wasn't allowed. Get ride.core. Pending ride. I should just be able to say, I should be able to get rid of this because I imported it over here, up here. Okay, now that's being recognized. Okay. So for this await ride view model that we're on, hence under ride view models, await ride, that was the status message that I decided to bind to. So await ride needs to inherit. I'm not sure if that's the actual word that's used though. Is it inherit? Oh, shoot. No. Is it inherit? Yeah. And then it's like view. Before we inherit, we have to open UI logic. Okay. And that will probably come after our. Maybe that'll come right here. Then we can say inherit. And you can say view model base like that. Okay. And so then once you do that, then we can probably add something else in here, such as I think this view model needs to have a reference to Xamarin.Forms in order to use the in my ride.ui, not my UI, in my, kill this one, in my ride.viewModels, do I have a dependency on Xamarin.Forms? And I don't. But just to be sure, I really think that Xamarin.Forms, I think it's called image source. Yeah, that's what I think I have to bind to. Now, in here, they have the XAML of just pointing to a file, but in this case, this needs to be like a file stream or a memory stream. So that needs to downloading images. Yeah, so whatever it is, I think my view model needs to have that dependency on it on Xamarin.Forms, which I don't want to do. And maybe I could skip it for right now, but there's going to be a member x dot profile image, say driver image. Okay. And say let mutable driver image equal. And right now it's going to be right now it doesn't have to be an option type of none. There could be a default silhouette image. But I don't feel like doing that, so I'm just going to say none. Okay. And so over here, this driver image with it equal driver image. Hold up, come over here. And then I can say, and set the value equals, I don't know where driver image went. And then you could say, say driver image equals value, something like that. Okay. What else? Well, in the wait ride, like I said, somewhere in here, there's a driver, or there's an image over here. And that image is going to not be visible. I wish there was a different state for like hidden or something. I just call it is visible, say false for right now. But actually, it's not going to be false. I should probably say that is visible is going to be bound to image exists converter, or I don't know, image exists converter, something like that. that image exists converter is going to be in our converters, and that is going to we'll add that to our converters and say this is going to be public class image exists converter implements I value converter. Import Xamarin.Forms, implement this. That value is going to be var var has, how do you want to do this? Var, I don't know. When in doubt, just say var result equals value as, and then this is going to be it's going to be a image source, but it's the option that operates on the image source. So what I mean by that is, I think I could say using F#, using F#, using F#, Microsoft.F#.core, and there should be an option in here. There's a F# option. Okay. And I think that's probably what it's going to look like. And then I can say that if result dot value dot, and I think it's not equal null, then you, honestly, I just think you, oh yeah. If it's not equal null, then you return true. And then return false for anything else. Okay, I think that's the way it should probably look. Something like this. You have your result that should be of type image source option, and then if that option actually has a value that's not null, then we say that is visible should be true, else is false. So I think it should look something like this. And then I can probably go up here and say that I need a XML namespace converters, and I can probably say that I write a UI converters. Okay. So then that leaves me with a content view dot resources, and then I have to say like resource dictionary, which I don't think I have to say anymore, but it used to always bite me when I would have to explicitly say that, just because I was coming from WPF. even though I don't think resource dictionary is no longer necessary to declare inside your content view.resources. And then I can say over here, there's a converters right here, right? And then I could say that image exists converter, the key is going to be the same name. And then I could close this over here. Okay. And so once I have that defined over there, then this image is visible. Image exists converter should be fine over here. Okay. Now what? I really don't want to add any Xamarin.Forms dependency on my view model within my ride domain. I don't want any Xamarin.Forms dependency or reference in any module except, or in any library or project except projects that are UI specific. So what I could do is for this image here, like the source, I could still bind to I think I called it driver image or something. If I go to await ride driver image, and then I could probably have a converter in here that's going to static resource, and I could call that, maybe it's memory. I'll just call it stream to image source converter, something like that maybe. I don't want to add a Xamarin.Forms dependency in my view models project. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it clean. So this stream to image source converter, I'll probably add that to my converters folder, and I can probably do something like this over here. Add that over there. And I can make you public. And I don't know if I made the other one public. Where are you at over here? Are you public? Yeah, you're public. All right, go back. And so then I can say that you implement I value converter like this. Come here. And then I can implement it like that. Okay, and I can get rid of all this noise up here. Yeah. Now what? Well, so I got this convert over here, and I can say that the var stream equals value as, is it a memory stream? Do we have that? As I don't know. Oh no, there's system.io. Okay. I think we could use something like that. And then I don't know how this image source works. It's been a while. I would say like var image source equals new. I can't say image source. Image source. Like, am I allowed to do that? And it's an abstract class. So now I have to figure out how to use the image source. So I'll go up here and I'll say Xamarin.Forms, and I'll say image source and something like that. And I just want to quickly figure out how I could use this image source. And that's not helping me down here. And I'll go down here, come here, and over here, I need to go down, go down, go down, go down. There's an image source from resource. But that's passing in a file. Like it's image source from, you gotta get rid of that new over here. So image source dot Okay, still not working. Let me go back over here. They have image source. That's the spelling, which should be fine. Image source. Okay, so I'm not getting any IntelliSense on here right now. Now, let me try to figure out how to accomplish this. Image source dot from stream looks like what I probably want to use. And then I can take it looks like I do a lambda and do a stream like that. And so then I can say, how does this work? R image source equals, and then this is already defined. Yeah, that's right there. And then I could just return that over here. I think. And would probably needs to be, yeah, I don't know. All right, so this is the image source that I need. I think the logic is going to look something like this. The only disclaimer is how do I ensure that value is going to be valid? So I don't know. I might have to say value. Of course, I need to put parentheses in my ifs in C#. If it's not equal null, then within braces, I can say this right here. Else, I guess I just return null. I don't know, IDK. I don't like returning null. Something like that. All right. And so that's the stream to image source converter. Okay. So where was I at originally? I was stream to image source converter over there. And I think I need to define that over here and say converters. Where you at? Right here. Converters. And then you can say stream to image source converter. And then you can say key equals and that right there. Yeah, come here. Like that. Come here. Like that. Yeah. Okay. What else? So this image, if is only visible based on if we have a image that exists. Uh-oh, I did that wrong. Is visible is binding to our driver image, and the converter is going to be a static resource, and we're going to rely on our image exists converter. I think that's the way it should look. Okay, now what? Oh, this is throwing me off. Okay, now what? So you have an image in here that if I go to my await ride view model, set to none, but this should be a file stream. or a memory stream. So like I probably should make this explicit right now and say this is going to be a memory stream, okay? Option, okay? For right now, it could be explicit. And because this is a view model, I need to maybe, how's this going to work? This await ride, it needs to query member x dot query, or maybe search for driver. Or you could say, well, either get driver or search for driver. I think search for driver is probably a good name. And that will ultimately populate this driver image right here. So what I mean by that is there's probably going to be a request find driver that I need to implement, and maybe that's a better name. And so that this request I need to implement, there will be a find driver property that's a function type, and that will take in the, here's a question, should it take in the entire quote, or on the driver's end, should it just, I'm not sure if the driver should know the price and any other information, or if they should only know about the pickup and the destination, and that's it. Or if they shouldn't even know about the destination, they should just know about the pickup. And then once they have that person in their car, then they are updated with the destination, just for the mere fact that if a driver knows what the pickup and destination is, they may want to cancel it because they may think that the fare is not worth it. Which, yeah, I'd rather keep the driver ignorant, right? So this request I find driver it's going to require the location. It's going to require the pickup, right? And so this is pending ride, and so they want to say pending ride. Pending ride dot, and apparently pending ride doesn't know what I'm talking about right now. If I go over here, there's I should be able to say get pickup. Something like get pickup pending ride, something like that. course, I don't think I have get pickup defined anywhere. Yeah, I do. It's right here. So that get pickup is actually implemented. I still need to implement a request, but finding a driver, define driver property, which is ultimately a function, is going to require a pickup. And so then here, I can imagine that if and when that operation or function is successful, you will have a function, you'll put that into a function of it being okay, and then you have your driver, and then you can say that you have actually, yeah. If it's okay, you have a driver, and so then you would be able to say that the driver, come here, driver image will be some, and then you would have like a driver, and then there would be like a profile image, something like that. And then if it's in error, then you might have a message, and then you can just say that I'm not sure. One is the driver image will continue to be none, right? And we would probably need to broadcast that message. So you probably say, broadcast to, again, it's going to be a message broadcast to, and then there'll probably be error handlers that needs to be defined. That error handlers be up here somewhere somehow. And it'll probably be, I think it'll probably be like handlers. And then over here, you would say handlers dot for handlers for error finding driver, something like that. Something like that. Okay. So what do we have so far? Well, there needs to be something like a request that gets injected in here that does some IO for finding a driver, aka querying a driver. There's a handlers that needs to be fleshed out up here, which is going to expose the property for an error finding a driver, right? It's going to have a list of handlers for that property, for that state. And then this driver needs to have a profile image. Right now, driver is just an object. So we need to define this. We need to define the notion of a request in which it has a property that is a function called findDriver. Okay. So by the end of this video, I'd like to get all this to compile. I'm not going to actually have this stuff work. The next video, I might wire it up to actually get it to work visually. But in this video, I just want to get things to compile. So I'm still in the ride domain. Maybe I should scope to this. And for the operations, we have a request ride. We need to have so in here, there needs to be a type and then find driver. And that is going to take a pickup. And it's going to take some other things now that I think about it. It's going to actually, no, it doesn't need any of that other information. It just needs to know that there's a pickup. And then that app will, I'm just gonna stick with essentials. What I'm right now, I'm thinking about like, why shouldn't it also provide the passenger information? But my thought process is only find a reason for why a function needs that information. Right now, to find a driver, you only need the pickup. You only need the location. And that's it for right now until there's a credible argument saying that you need to have a passenger or else the operation won't succeed. And that might be the case where the passenger is actually required for finding a driver, but I haven't built up that argument yet. So you have a pickup, and there's going to be a result that is going to be a driver option, right? You may have a driver, you may not. Even if you don't have a driver, that's still a successful operation, right? And then you'll have a error description that doesn't work out. Okay. Now what? Uh-oh. So you have find driver in here. If we go back over here, we need to have another record in here called type. I don't want to throw find driver in this request because that was specific to before a ride. You're requesting a ride. Well, then again, that ride hasn't came yet, so I guess we can have a find driver. All right, fine. So over here, this request, however, this request is more focused on the passenger. The passenger requests a ride. They can request a cancel. They can request a price. They can request the cars that they have registered on the application to use to pay a fee. So this is centric to a passenger in which what they have control over. Finding a driver isn't controlled by a passenger, right? A passenger can't call find driver. Find driver is what the system does. And so with that said, I don't think find driver should be in here because it's kind of like a, for lack of a better term, a leaky abstraction. I don't know. That's probably, I won't say leaky abstraction. It just doesn't feel right. Right. I feel it's unnecessary coupling of a responsibility that has nothing to do with the request options of an actual passenger. So there may be a type, and yeah, you know what? Maybe I don't do anything. Maybe it's just find driver like this, and find driver, something like that. This request, delete, just get pickup pending ride is what I had right here. And so this pending ride, it should be pending ride dot. Hold up. Do I do it over here? Nope. Okay, let's start over. Let's say let location. No, let pickup equal. We want this over here. Okay. This get pickup is supposed to take a. Oh, that takes a end of ride, which I'm not sure why this is here. This should be ending ride. And that's probably going to break hella tests. This find driver. Let me just try to build this right now. Pick up, find driver, and then function, whatever. And then actually you can do something like this, and you can say pending ride, get pickup, something like that. Okay. This find driver is up here, and that needs to be the function type. Find driver. That's not what I wanted. Go back over here. Find driver. And so that is going to be that's going to require an import in which we say open ride dot specification dot operations dot before ride. Okay. And so that should now have a driver option. And so then there's, if I do have a driver, then that's a driver option, which we would then have to say something like this, like driver, and then you do function, and then you have some driver. So you have a result here, and then go back. You have result here, put it up there, and then when you pattern match on the result, you may have some, and if you have some, then you have a driver. And then you can do something like this, where you can have, put that back. You can return a driver, and then you can say with, and then say, I don't know what a driver has. Driver is a, let me see, driver, there's no image on here. No, hold up, go back. Driver just has a name. Okay, so that needs to change, because now our driver is more than a name. Our driver is going to be a, yeah, this is going to disrupt my existing code base. This driver is going to, yes, have a name, type name, profile image, and that is going to be a memory stream. Okay. That's what a driver is going to have so far. Now, that's going to break a lot of things. So if I, hell's bells, just build and refresh our errors. That's going to break hella tests and a lot of other logic. But I know that this driver with profile image equals And actually, no, I'm confusing all this. You just say some driver, and it's going to automatically have the profile image in there. Something like that. None. It's going to be none. All right, so why isn't my keyword? Okay. Let me see. Some driver image equals. This driver image I need to update. I already have this driver in here, so it should be driver dot profile image. And it's some profile image. Okay. Do that over here. Okay. Now what? Down here, this broadcast to handlers. I don't care about this right now. This driver over here. Some driver. This is going to be a name. Oh, hold up. Go back. This is going to be I don't know what this is right here. Okay, so driver, go back up here. This needs to be changed to this. Let's say some driver name. And that will be, hold up, let me copy all this right here. And then say, let some driver equal. And then you have name equals, and then we could say this is some driver name. Something like that. And then we can say profile image equals, and that is going to be let some profile image equals, and then to be like new memory stream. Let's say new memory stream, just like that. Something like that. Control Shift B. And if I go back to my await ride, this has to be done eventually. Hence, handler is not being used yet. And everything succeeds for right now. All of this that I did for the last, or that I performed for the last probably 15 minutes was just finding the driver. And that should also, when we find a driver, should also update the status to say something like, there's a couple of things here. This driver image is supposed to be this right here. Or no. This is driver image. Oh, X.driver image. Okay. We also want to say X.status, which I thought I had in here. X.status, and you want to change that to something like driver found. Okay. And so you have a pending ride, get pickup, find driver. If it's okay, then we have a driver. We update the driver image on our view model. We update the status on our view model. And then we don't have to say en route. The Google map is going to convey that with the little car moving back and forth. If it's air, then we need to handle this over here. We need to handle this over here. I have handlers up here. I'll call this air handlers, whatever. I'll just keep it abstract for now. And surprised all this built because because the await ride is a brand new view model, and I didn't bind my await ride UI to the await ride view model. So that's why everything builds and it's not complaining about these parameters, because I didn't actually instantiate an instance of this await ride view model to have these parameters yet. So that makes sense. I'm going to, let me see, I need to make sure all my tests still pass, and then I'll just check this code in. Oh, and this error message here probably should say something like X dot. Even if there's a page navigation, I should still convey that X dot status equals, and then say error occurred. I don't know how to spell occurred. Error, that looks right. Error occurred finding a driver. Error occurred on finding driver. Something like that. Okay. All right. And so run these tests. I think I already ran it. Everything should have passed. And once that passes, I'll check this code in. And the next video, I'll actually spin up the view model and wire it up to the pages or the content views binding context. And I also need to do some work on creating a profile image for an actual driver, which I attempted to do in my test API right here. So I need to wire up my personal image and get that displayed on the application. So that's it. I'll scope out and check this in and say that added partial support for await ride driver search UX. No, just leave it like that. And commit all and push. Okay. And that's it. So I'm going to kill this video. And adios, peace. I'm Scott Nimrod.